Welcome to the Urban Herald. We're your team, here to give you the in-depth analysis and the guides you've come to rely on.
And today we are doing a deep dive into the cinematic world of December. We're going to move past all that seasonal filler.
Right, the stuff that just shows up on streaming because an algorithm decided it should.
Exactly. We're here to identify the 8 films that have genuinely, truly earned their place in the festive canon. This is your shortcut to being really well informed about the movies that define Christmas viewing.
That's the mission. And based on all our research, we're here to break down why these specific films matter so much. Whether you're looking for, some real heartfelt catharsis.
Or some anarchic chaos, which is sometimes very necessary.
Definitely necessary. Or just, spectacular filmmaking. We're defining the canon not just by theme, but by real cultural impact and, frankly, the sheer quality of how they're made.
And to frame this whole discussion, I think we need to clarify what the Urban Herald's criteria are for a must-watch Christmas film. We found there are 3 non-negotiable markers.
Okay, so let's unpack that. What did our analysis show are the 3 pillars of a true Christmas classic?
First, the film has to reframe how we see the season itself. It can't just use Christmas as, tinsel and snow.
Just background decoration.
Right. It has to be a lens for looking at bigger truths. Things about humanity, isolation, community, what it means to believe in something. It has to be bigger than just the holiday.
So even if you took the Christmas tree out, the film would still have something really profound to say about who we are.
Precisely. The second thing is it has to be genuinely innovative entertainment. These films, they have to avoid all the recycled plot mechanics.
No formulas.
No formulas. They need to show real, sustained, artistic ambition. The craft has to be superior. If it feels like it was made by a committee, it's out.
Innovation over repetition. Got it. And the third, and maybe the most crucial, criterion.
Cultural embeddedness. A real must-watch is so woven into our cultural fabric that if you skip it, you feel like you're missing a shared moment. They start conversations.
Like the Die Hard debate every single year.
Exactly like the Die Hard debate. And they get better, not worse, every time you watch them. They reward you for paying close attention.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So let's get into the 8 films our analysis selected. And we should probably start where all serious holiday viewing should, with the philosophical bedrock of the whole season.
We have to. We're starting in the 1940s.
Let's do it.
We're anchoring the list with 2 undisputed classics. They both approach Christmas with this incredible intellectual and emotional rigor. Frank Capra's 1946 epic, It's a Wonderful Life.
Of course.
And the courtroom masterpiece from the very next year, Miracle on 34th Street.
Let's start with It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
As our analysis confirms, the core insight here is how it takes what could be just pure sentimentality and turns it into genuine philosophy, a meditation on the value of just one single life.
And the beauty of it is the premise. George Bailey, who James Stewart plays with this, just stunning intensity. He is convinced his life has been meaningless.
He sees himself as a failure.
A total failure, always sacrificing his own dreams. And he's pushed to the edge by a legitimate financial crisis, not some manufactured plot point. And then the film just meticulously shows you the ripples of kindness that spread through a community because of one person.
What I found fascinating in our review of the source material was the focus on the film's handling of class, of economic disparity. George's despair isn't just existential, right? It's rooted in the very real fight between the Bailey Building and Loan and Mr. Potter's monopoly.
Absolutely. The film is a post-depression critique of this rapacious, exploitative capitalism versus a more communal, responsible kind of banking. Potter is just pure greed. He wants to own everything, strip people of their dignity.
And the Building and Loan is the opposite. It's designed to keep the community strong.
Exactly. And that whole dichotomy is so powerfully reflected in the visual language, especially when you see the contrast between Bedford Falls and Pottersville.
Oh, Pottersville is deliberately jarring, isn't it?
It is. The sources detail how the lighting scheme is just completely different. It's garish, it's too bright, it's almost sickly, the faces look hard, the snow doesn't feel comforting anymore.
It's the same town, but it's morally bankrupt.
And Capra uses George's absence to show that without his sacrifice, the moral and economic fabric of the town is just completely shredded. It's a powerful argument for collective responsibility.
We have to talk about the performances, too. James Stewart. It's not just sadness he's playing, it's rage and frustration and real terror.
It is. And Donna Reed's Mary Bailey is often overlooked, I think, in terms of her agency.
That's a great point.
Mary is vital. She's not just the passive, supportive wife. She is the anchor. Her choice, to use their honeymoon money to save the building and loan, That is a massive act of sacrifice. It shows she's completely aligned with George's philosophy.
She's making active choices.
Active choices. And that rigor is why the film earns its catharsis. It's a painful journey into real despair before the light comes back.
And I think that's why it has such a powerful contemporary resonance in an era where so many of us sort of feel isolated. That central message that you matter more than you know, it just hits incredibly hard.
It does. And if you're planning your viewing, the suggested combo for this one is key. You have to eliminate all notifications, just settle in, and maybe try watching it in the late afternoon.
Oh, why is that?
So that as the natural light outside fades, George Bailey is journeying into his own darkness on that bridge. It enhances the whole journey from darkness back to light and hope. It's an immersive experience.
That's a great tip. Okay, moving on to our second classic, Miracle on 34th Street from 1947. Also incredibly highly rated, a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. But it comes at the idea of belief from a completely different, more intellectual angle.
It really does. It distinguishes itself through the sheer elegance of construction. Its core insight is about faith, but not as blind acceptance. It's faith as a reasonable commitment to belief, even without empirical proof.
It almost treats Santa Claus like a legal concept.
It does, like an institution that functions because we all collectively agree that it's real. And it uses that premise. A department store Santa claims to be the real thing, to engage your intellect, especially in those famous courtroom sequences.
Right, the legal scenes are central. What did the sources really analyze about the role of the law in this film?
The courtroom is where the film really, really shines. It provides genuine intellectual engagement because it's asking a very sophisticated philosophical question: what constitutes proof for something that exists, mostly because we all agree it does?
Like the legal system itself.
Right.
Or the post office.
Exactly. It connects all these institutions. So when the judge has to rule on Kris Kringle's sanity, he is, in essence, ruling on the sanity of belief itself.
And the brilliant legal move, of course, is using the United States Post Office.
Yes. Just brilliant. When they bring in all those bags of letters addressed to Santa and the court accepts them, it means the government itself acknowledges the institutional reality of Santa Claus. It's a genius way to get around the lack of physical proof.
And the characters reflect that thoughtfulness, too. Edmund Gwynn's Kris Kringle is exceptional. He never uses tricks or magic. He just uses gentle, reasonable arguments.
He's a man of principle. And you have Natalie Wood's character, Susan, who is this staunch skeptic, right? She's been raised by her rationalist mother, but she isn't won over by fantasy. She's won over by logical conversation.
And the film's take on commercialism is surprisingly complex for that era.
It's highly sophisticated. I mean, Macy's hires him for purely commercial reasons. But his ethical behavior, telling customers to go to a competitor if they can get a better deal, it actually transforms Macy's reputation and their profitability.
So it's this optimistic vision that good ethics can actually be good business.
It is. It argues that authentic human connection can enhance a brand. That complexity is what elevates it. It won 3 Academy Awards, including Best Screenplay, and that authentic black and white New York setting just grounds the whole thing in this timeless reality.
So these two films, they form the philosophical and emotional foundation of the canon. We've established heart and insight. Now, we jump ahead 4 decades and switch gears completely.
We do. We're headed for a section all about action, chaos, and the great definitional divide.
We're in the 80s and 90s now, where the holiday spirit got a lot more explosive. And we have to start with the film that just dominates the debate every December, Die Hard from 1988.
Die Hard represents a genuine schism. I mean, a real split in how audiences categorize holiday films. And this division is so pronounced, we have to really lay out the evidence for both sides of the is it a Christmas movie debate.
Okay, so let's do it. Let's start with the strong case FR, it being a Christmas movie. The sources cite a ton of explicit elements.
So the most obvious one. The entire film is set on Christmas Eve. The whole reason anything happens is the Nakatomi Plaza Christmas party.
Right.
Then you have the specific props, most famously the dead terrorist in the Santa hat with the note, "Now I have a machine gun, ho, ho, ho."
Can't argue with that one.
You can't. And Hans Gruber himself references the season. He wears McClane a very happy Christmas and says he finds a time of miracles to be tiresome. The setting is constantly referenced.
But the thematic alignment is maybe even stronger than the references, isn't it?
Absolutely. The emotional arc is arguably the most Christmas-centric theme there is. Reconciliation and family. John McClane is in LA specifically to try and save his marriage to Holly.
His whole motivation is family.
It is. His entire heroic journey is about sacrifice. He's this blue-collar cop fighting corporate greed, symbolized by Nakatomi Plaza, and the final reconciliation happens against a backdrop of falling paper that looks just like Christmas snow. It's a journey from darkness back to family.
A very compelling case. Now let's pivot. Let's present the counter case, which is also very strong and often cited by Bruce Willis himself.
Right. The counter-argument really boils down to this. Is the setting incidental? The opposition would say that if you strip away Christmas and set it at, say, a Thanksgiving party, the plot is functionally identical.
So the holiday is just a convenient excuse to have an empty building.
Exactly. It doesn't fundamentally change the story of a man fighting terrorists. The core story is a hostage crisis, not an exploration of Christmas themes.
And as we noted, Bruce Willis famously said it's a goddamn Bruce Willis movie. Our sources point to that BBFC poll, which shows how divided people are. 44% said no, it's not a Christmas film. 38% said yes. It really is a cultural schism.
It is. But regardless of which category you put it in, we have to acknowledge the sheer quality of the filmmaking. Die Hard is magnificent action cinema. It set the template for the modern blockbuster.
The technical execution is just exceptional. John McTiernan directing, Jan de Bont on cinematography. His use of deep focus means you always know where McClane is in relation to the threat.
The clarity of the action choreography is what makes it so enduring. There's no shaky cam hiding things. You see every move. And Nakatomi Plaza itself becomes a character, this massive glass tower that the blue-collar McClane just systematically dismantles.
And you can't talk about Die Hard without talking about Alan Rickman's Hans Gruber. He totally redefined the charismatic villain.
He brought a Shakespearean gravitas to it. Gruber is intellectual, obsessed with aesthetics, with his expensive suits. He's the perfect contrast to John McClane's blue-collar desperation. It makes the conflict feel like more than just good versus bad.
Moving from high-rise chaos to suburban creature chaos, we go to 1984's Gremlins. This film is just pure tonal anarchy. It's horror, comedy, a Christmas film, and sharp social commentary all at once.
Gremlins resists any comfortable emotional feeling, and that's the genius of Joe Dante. The story is simple. A father buys a mogwai, the 3 rules get broken, but the execution is just boundary-pushing 80s cinema that deliberately makes you uncomfortable.
And the source material highlights that strong social commentary.
Yeah.
The Gremlins are basically undisciplined consumerism come to life, right?
That's a perfect way to put it. They're born from a thoughtless commercial transaction, a novelty pet, and they immediately spiral out of control and overwhelm this peaceful small town. It's a direct comment on the chaos of American Christmas consumption.
The father is literally an inventor of useless gadgets.
Exactly. The film suggests that this impulse for novelty and uncontrolled buying inevitably leads to actual, literal mayhem.
And Joe Dante uses this deliberate tonal whiplash to hammer that home. You have the cuteness of Gizmo, then cartoonish violence, and then Kate's shockingly dark monologue.
That monologue is essential. Right in the middle of this comedic creature feature, she tells this horrifying story about her father dying in the chimney dressed as Santa.
Yeah, that scene it's jarring.
It is. The film refuses to let you get cozy and sentimental. It injects genuine, macabre darkness right into the heart of Christmas.
It's also historically significant for film ratings.
Crucially, yes. Gremlins, along with Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom that same year, basically forced the creation of the PG-13 rating. It was too intense for PG, but not quite an R. It occupied this unique space that the rules hadn't accounted for yet.
And the practical effects hold up so well. The Gizmo animatronic is still one of cinema's great creature characters.
That practical approach is so important. The puppets are tangible, they interact with the set and the actors, and that makes the chaos feel much more grounded and immediate than early CGI ever could have.
Okay, next we land on a film that captures a different, more family-centric kind of chaos. 1990's Home Alone.
Home Alone is structured, really, as an extended comedy about engineering. Kevin McAllister isn't just a kid, he's an architect. He's creating these elaborate systems of traps.
It has that Wile E. Coyote precision.
It does, but it's backed by genuine ingenuity. And our sources noted that the John Hughes script is key. He blends that very suburban sentimentality with a willingness to embrace this high-stakes, almost anarchic violence.
And John Williams' score is so integral. It's not just Christmas carols. He composed a theme for Kevin that perfectly captures that mix of suspense and childlike wonder.
The music tells you that the traps are both genuinely dangerous and a really exciting game for an 8-year-old.
But what elevates it beyond just slapstick is the real affection the film has for its characters. Even the burglars.
They aren't two-dimensional villains at all. Harry, played by Joe Pesci, is the frustrated brains of the operation, and Marv, Daniel Stern, is just pure childlike incompetence. He's almost delighted by the punishment he's taking. Their distinct personalities make the cartoon violence feel earned.
And the film's emotional, center Kevin's loneliness and his reconciliation with Old Man Marley that grounds all the chaos in real feeling.
Oh, the church scene, where Marley reveals he's estranged from his son. That scene provides such unexpected depth. It's a quiet, safe space where two isolated people connect.
And the production design of that huge McAllister house is critical too. It feels authentically cluttered and lived in, which makes the family's chaos believable.
It does. It's a timeless film because the comedy is grounded in physical reality, logic, and a very specific kind of American suburban fantasy.
So we've covered the philosophical cornerstones and the spectacular chaos of the 80s and 90s. Now we move to Section 3, animated mastery and visual sophistication, starting with the stop-motion poetry of The Nightmare Before Christmas.
This film is just a technical and conceptual triumph. It's that unique fusion of Tim Burton's brilliant concept married to Henry Selick's meticulous direction. They managed to marry Halloween and Christmas without compromising either one.
Visually, the stop-motion is just timeless, isn't it? Decades later, the texture and detail in every frame is still extraordinary. What did our analysis say about the technical difficulty?
Well, stop motion is famously labor-intensive. For Nightmare, the sources noted they were shooting an average of just 70 seconds of usable footage per week.
Wow.
The level of detail, especially in Jack Skellington, who had over 400 separate interchangeable heads just to show emotion, it shows an obsession with craft that really elevates the whole thing.
And Danny Elfman's score. It might be his defining work.
It's one of the most perfectly realized soundtracks ever. Songs like What's This are so sophisticated musically, but also incredibly catchy. The score is absolutely essential to the world building.
And that world building is key. You have Halloween Town, all sharp angles and monochrome, versus Christmas Town with its pastels and round shapes. That contrast makes Jack's conflict feel tangible.
And that conflict, as our sources discussed, is surprisingly deep. Jack's arc is about creative ambition, but it's also about cultural misunderstanding. He genuinely thinks he can improve Christmas by applying Halloween's methods.
It's the difference between adopting the look of something and understanding its cultural core. The source material basically calls it a kind of creative appropriation. He's taking the form of Christmas without understanding its function.
Exactly. His failure doesn't come from malice. It's a fundamental category error. He assumes if he delivers the gifts, he delivers the spirit. But his gifts reflect his culture, not theirs. That sophistication is why it appeals to everyone.
From the physical art of stop motion, we jump to a modern animated masterpiece that used tech to redefine a traditional style. 2019's Klaus.
Klaus is so important because it represents something that's becoming really rare. Traditional hand-drawn 2D animation that's augmented, not replaced, by CGI. The result is this painterly quality, this liquid grace in the character movements.
Can you explain that technical side a bit more? It looks hand-drawn, but the lighting feels impossibly rich.
So the animators developed special software to give volume and texture to the flat 2D drawings. This let them place light realistically on characters and environments. It makes surfaces feel tangible and shadows look deep. It took the ambition of traditional craft and used modern tech to solve its limitations.
And it's a Santa origin story, but it approaches it with such incredible emotional intelligence. Kindness is shown, not just explained away with magic.
The complexity starts with the setting. Smearensburg is this town fractured by ancient feuds, and the film meticulously shows that healing comes from sustained effort and incremental change, not a magic fix. It makes the transformation feel organic and earned.
Jesper starts as a genuinely unlikable, spoiled kid, but his transformation is gradual and believable.
And the film's focus on action over dialogue is key to that. We don't hear a voiceover explaining why he changes. We see him choosing to deliver letters to see a child smile. And we see Klaus, initially this intimidating silent figure, reveal himself as gentle and grieving.
The film trusts its audience to get it without spelling everything out. And that's what earned it an Oscar nomination and a BAFTA win. It's essential modern canon.
And now we get to our 8th essential film, Elf, from 2003, which falls into the category of absurd sincerity.
It's often just called a simple comedy, but our analysis showed it's this remarkable balancing act. It's absurdist comedy, but executed with complete sincerity and warmth.
That's the secret sauce. Will Ferrell's commitment as Buddy is total. His innocence and wonder are framed as the same response to the world, contrasting with the cynical adults he meets in Manhattan. The film succeeds because it believes in Buddy's worldview 100%.
And it balances the physical comedy, the maple syrup on pasta, the revolving doors, with real emotional depth, especially with James Caan's character, Walter Hobbs.
Caan's casting is genius. He's known for these intense, serious roles. So that gravitas makes his slow softening toward Buddy feel authentic. Walter isn't just a bad dad stereotype. He's a man consumed by stress and regret, and Buddy forces him to confront that.
And director Jon Favreau used a lot of practical effects to reinforce that sincerity.
Absolutely. The sources noted he deliberately used forced perspective and oversized sets in the North Pole scenes to make Farrell look genuinely elf-sized. By avoiding heavy CGI there, it creates this tangible, handcrafted quality that supports Buddy's worldview.
New York City itself is the key setting for that contrast.
Yes. The holiday decorations transform the city into Buddy's Christmas fantasy. The sheer scale and rush of Manhattan is the perfect foil for Buddy's gentle devotion. The film argues that wonder is still possible, even in the most cynical place.
So there we have it, the 8 essentials, spanning philosophy, action, artistry, and comedy. Now, for the listener looking to put this all together, we have the Urban Herald's engineered marathon order. Because watching these randomly...
Oh, that would lead to severe emotional exhaustion and tonal whiplash. This order is designed to alternate between high emotional engagement and pure entertainment. It's a carefully constructed schedule for maximum payoff.
Okay, we suggest starting early, 9:00 a.m., with It's a Wonderful Life. Why start with the heaviest emotional lift?
Because it opens your heart and sets the philosophical groundwork for everything else. If you start with a comedy, you undermine the gravity of the whole experience. Plus, starting early allows the natural light to fade during George's darkest moments, which enhances the journey.
Second slot, 11:30 a.m. Klaus.
Precisely. We move from 1940s black and white to modern, sophisticated animation. The visual contrast is crucial for keeping you engaged. Klaus maintains the emotional momentum without being quite as wrenching as the Capra film.
Third slot, 1:15 p.m. Miracle on 34th Street. This finishes the demanding philosophical trilogy.
This is the intellectual engagement segment. The courtroom scenes offer a different kind of sophistication. By the time it's over, you've done the films that require the most attention, and it's time for lunch.
Okay, post-lunch, 3:00 p.m. The afternoon palate cleanser, Home Alone.
After a morning of philosophy, you need a mental vacation. Home Alone is pure entertainment. It's spectacle, sophisticated slapstick, and it lets you just relax into the organized chaos.
Post-dinner uplift, 6:50 p.m. Elf.
Right. By evening, humor is key to fight off that post-dinner lethargy. Elf's absurdist sweetness maintains the uplift, requires minimal energy, but delivers maximum comfort and laughs.
Dark Hours, 8:00 p.m. The Nightmare Before Christmas.
As the evening progresses, you can embrace something darker and more visually sophisticated. Its gothic elements feel right for later viewing, and its shorter runtime, just over 75 minutes, prevents burnout before the finale.
And for that final slot, 9:30 p.m., Final Catharsis, with a choice between Gremlins or Die Hard.
These two demand minimal emotional investment and maximum entertainment. They are energetic, engaging, and provide a necessary, violent catharsis after a full day of sentiment. You pick Gremlins for dark comedy or Die Hard for spectacular action.
This order is genuinely engineered to maintain variety and prevent that marathon burnout. It respects your energy levels.
It honors the diversity of the canon. And before we wrap up, let's just quickly hit some frequently asked questions that always come up with these films.
Okay, first up, the highest rating Christmas film of all time. We've mentioned 2 big contenders.
Critically, It's a Wonderful Life and Miracle on 34th Street are neck and neck. Wonderful Life has the 8.6 on IMDb and is ranked by the AFI as the most inspirational American film ever. But Miracle has a stunning 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. They're both preserved in the National Film Registry. They're both masterpieces.
Next, the dual nature of The Nightmare Before Christmas, Halloween film or Christmas film.
Our analysis is definitive here. It functions authentically and equally as both. That dual nature is essential to its story. So the fan practice of watching it twice a year, once in October and again in December, is completely justified by the film itself.
And finally, let's give the final verdict on the Die Hard debate, specifically for viewing purposes.
Regardless of the controversy, its quality transcends the whole debate. For practical purposes, it works as essential viewing because it is perfect Christmas counter-programming. It offers adrenaline and spectacle for anyone exhausted by all the warmth and sentiment. It's the necessary grit in the sentimental oyster.
That brings us to the end of our analysis. These 8 films represent a curated, sophisticated approach to the season, acknowledging all its dimensions: philosophy, entertainment, beauty, and that necessary anarchic humor.
Their durability, it comes from genuine creative conviction, not from a commercial formula. They prove that the truly essential films are the ones that respect your intelligence and earn your attention.
Engagement really is key. You have to move beyond just the default selections and really dig into these films. What stands out to you in this final list?
I think the strength of this canon is that it allows for customization while guaranteeing quality. If you want emotional connection, you prioritize the 40s classics and Klaus. If you just want laughter and spectacle, Home Alone and Elf are there.
And if you want to challenge the sentimentality,
Then Gremlins and Diehards provide that necessary cathartic edge.
so consider which elements matter most to you this season. Your Christmas viewing can be as sentimental or as anarchic as your mood demands. What matters is engaging with films that respect your intelligence and really reward your attention.
Because ultimately, these films show that true craft and sustained artistic ambition will always elevate a work from just a seasonal novelty to genuine, essential viewing that endures.
Thank you for engaging with this deep dive from the Urban Herald. We hope this guide helps you curate a perfect, sophisticated viewing experience this season.